Okay guys, hello and welcome back to our little video series going along with the mouse here. I wanted to just really quickly talk to you about using the split command to split your model into pieces, because that's what we're going to be doing with our mouse. And I figured that one way to kind of explain it would be to start off with a brand new file here, and what we'll do is we'll illustrate the capabilities of the split command on a very simple surface first, because it gets complicated when you apply it to the mouse, considering that the mouse is a very complex set of surfaces. So I'm just going to go ahead here and just make a sphere, and we'll just look at the sphere and kind of talk about split and how it works. Okay, so I'm just going to go here to my front plane, and I'll look normal too, and this is always how I operate, right? If I'm going to be doing a complex maneuver in SolidWorks, I like to just crack open a fresh file and just practice the tool without all the drama of our full-on file going. So what I've got here is a sphere with just a line kind of drawn through it, and I'm making sure to extend the line past the edges of my model. And then I'm going to go to Direct Editing, and I'm going to go to Split. Okay. And you see what happens here with that curve selected. It enters it right into the Trim Tools section of the Split tool. And then you can just go Cut Part. And what that does is it takes this curve, projects it out into both directions, and cuts your model into two separate bodies. And then you get one of these little flags that pops up on each of the bodies telling you, okay, this will be body number 1 and this will be body number 2. Over here you get an indication of the resulting bodies from the split, and so you have to approve that, and you have to say, okay, I see that I've made that body, and I see I've made this body. I approve that, and I'm going to say okay. Alright, and so now you can see what we've done. We've split our model into two pieces, and then something else that's happened as well. The solid bodies folder has appeared in our design tree, and we now have both of the solid bodies that we created indicated here. And you can click on them one by one, and then if you use our visibility panel here, you can also hide them one by one and then show them, hide them all or whatever. Okay, and so that's how split works. Okay, at any point you can go back to split. Let's just look at this a little bit more. Notice up here at the top there's a message from SolidWorks, so let's just read it. It says double click a body file name or select a body callout in the graphics area to assign the body to an existing or new file. So we did that, right? We selected the two bodies that we saw, and we assigned those two bodies to this file. But now alternatively, we could double click on the name here where it says none, double click on that, and it says this part has not been saved yet, please save the part. So you have to save before you do this move. So let's just go save. Actually, we have to edit out of the split tool and then save our part file and go okay. And then we'll go back to split and double click on this. And this is an operation where you can split the part and then assign the body that you're creating to a new file name. Okay, so we want to assign it to a new file. All right, so we'll say okay, and it's going to ask us, all right, what do you want to name this new split part? And so we're going to call it body 1. Say okay. And that is going to create a new body out of that solid part. There you go. So now we've got body 1 solid part. Okay. And so we'll just go ahead and approve that. All right. There we go. And it says the template used for making the derived part has different units of measurements than that of the base part. Do you want to change the units of measurement for the derived part? Say yes. Alright, good. Now you saw a little tiny flash there of another part. Here's the other part. Okay, so this is body 1. So this is the body that we've assigned to a new part, and this is that part file. Okay, you can see your design tree is here, and then you can see this thing, stock part 1. This is the part that was exported out of the old file into the new file, and you can see how it works, right? It shows up like a piece of what they call dumb geometry. Hopefully you heard about this before. Dumb geometry is when you import a part from another file beyond SolidWorks. Like if you bring in surfaces from, say, Alias or Rhino, it shows up as an imported part and it shows up, and the reason they call it dumb geometry is because it doesn't have any sort of design tree behind it. So you see here, we've got this solid body sitting here, we've got the imported part, but we don't know really how it was made. Okay, so I'm just putting this out as an option. It's not necessary. It's just one of the characteristics or one of the capabilities of the split command is to export from the part file you're in into a new file. I don't do it very often because of the fact that it creates a piece of dumb geometry, and I always like to have access to the design tree of whatever's in my model. So, okay, I'm just going to close that down. All right. All right, so that's the split command, and there you go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just shut that down, and I won't even save it. All right. So now we're going to be here in our mouse file, and it's time to split this thing into a couple of different pieces. Okay. So what I want to do, I'm looking at my mouse, the actual physical mouse, and I see that there's a part line kind of right at this line here, this 3D curve, this little bit here. That's kind of where the part line starts. And so I want to create a line that we can draw through our model that follows along with this line. So let's just look kind of from the side view to see this from the side view. So just like with the sphere, I want to draw a line that's going to extend through the model, and it's going to follow along almost exactly with this line here. Okay. So let's think about it. So how was this line built, right? This is off of a 3D curve. As we know, 3D curves are built off of two different 2D curves. And I can even see that here. So here's the 3D curve, and here's the two sketches that are driving the 3D curve. Okay. So I can use this sketch here as a way to slice through my model right at this line, because remember, this line is driving this part line. So this is going to be the curve we want to use. Okay, so I'm going to show that curve. All right, it's a little bit hard to see, so maybe if we go like this. All right. All right, now I want to go ahead and create a sketch on my right plane. All right, and then I'm going to use the Convert Entities tool to select this curve and transform it into a new curve that's on my right plane. So I click on the curve, I go Convert Entities, I approve that. I'll go back and I'll hide this curve. And now I've got a new curve that's sitting on my right plane that's built off of the old curve that was used to build the 3D curve here. Okay? Hopefully this is making sense. A lot of information. So now I'm going to edit that curve, and you're going to see here what you've got. You've got this thing that says on edge. That's one of the constraints that shows up when you use Convert Entities. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and just recognize that that's there, and then I'm going to add a little bit of curvature. See, because if I look at this from the side view, this curve is exactly following along with the edge of my model, and I want it to extend out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my spline tool, and just like with using the same methods that we've learned so far, I'm going to just attach the spline to the new curve that we've created, and then I'll set curvature to the new spline that we've made. I'm just creating kind of a custom extension. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll do that over here as well. Normal 2. And now I've got this line that extends out in a fun way past the edges of my model. And now I can use this to slice through my model and chop off the top of this mouse and create a new body out of it. Okay, but there's one more thing to do, okay? Because this sketch was built right on the line that we used to make our 3D curve, it's probably going to be a good idea to drop this line down a little bit away from this edge, because otherwise we're going to have a 0 point there. We're going to try to slice our model right on a seam, and that is going to create some funky geometry. So I just want to offset this curve a little bit down away from the seam of the model, so that when I do my split, it's a nice clean split that's going to slice through the model. Okay, so let me do that now. So I'm going to edit the sketch. All right, I'm going to go to Offset Entities. I'm going to enter in a very small amount, like 1/4 of a millimeter. If you have your calipers nearby, just go ahead and pull out 1/4 millimeter and you'll see that this is a very small split. Okay. I'll even bump it up to 1/2 millimeter just to give us some meat on the bone. All right. And so then I'm going to click on this curve and you'll see how this thing works. Right? We can zoom in on this thing and it just takes this sketch and just offsets it off 1/2 millimeter. There we go. I have a couple more settings set on my offset entities command manager over here. First of all, I have construction geometry is created from base geometry. So that means it takes the original curve that it's offsetting and it creates a construction line out of that. And that's a very important step because otherwise it'll duplicate the sketch. And the offset command will duplicate the sketch and you'll have 2 sketches. You don't want that. So we'll approve that and you can see what we've got now. We've got a nice sketch going that we can use to slice through our model. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and go direct editing. We're going to go split. It automatically grabs the sketch that we're working on. We're going to go selected bodies. We'll select the body that we're talking about. It's time to go back to shaded view now. And then we're going to go cut bodies. And so just like with the sphere example at the start of the video, we've got these 2 little flags that are going to call out the 2 bodies that we're creating. Right? And we can even hover our mouse over them to see what we're about to do. Okay. And then just like with the sphere, we're going to go ahead and select the 2 bodies to tell the computer, yes, I see that you've split my part into 2 bodies. I approve that. I'm going to say okay. Okay. Then I'll hide this curve just to get it out of the way. And now you can see what's happened. We've created a new part line here. All right. Up here in our design tree, we now have 2 separate bodies. Okay. Just like on the actual mouse that we're building. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with a multi-body form, there's a number of ways to edit solid bodies inside of a part file. They all are contained underneath the direct editing tab. Okay, so like right here, there's move and copy bodies. So if we wanted to just move one of these bodies up to see kind of what we've created, we can go to move bodies. It'll ask us which body do we want to move, and we can just grab this one. And then we'll get something that looks a lot like the gumball in Rhino, and we can just move this body up like that and take a look at how we've split our model. Okay, so this is a really good thing. So now with this body, right, we can apply appearances to it if we want, right? Like we can just throw a new color on there, like a little dark gray. And now when we put this into KeyShot, KeyShot's going to recognize that appearance difference on the new body, and we'll be able to apply different shaders to it. Okay, but there's a lot more work to go here, so I want you to practice this. First, practice it on a sphere or a simple shape. You could do it on a cube or whatever, and then try to bring that in and bring that knowledge in and try it on your more complex thing. Good news about this move body command here, right? We've moved our piece, and the question is, well, how do you get it to go back to where you wanted it? You can just right click here and you can just delete this move body command and it'll just sit back to where it was. Okay, and that's that. All right, and there you go. Okay, now at any point, if you want, you can right click on these and you can go insert into new part, and you can take this you can take a solid body from this part file and create a new part file off of it. If you want to do that, insert into a new part, and you can just create a new part and go like, and it's going to say template is different. Do you want to change it? Say yes. And so here's a new file that's built off of the old part, the old split that we made. And you can see here, once again, it shows up as dumb geometry. It shows up as an imported part, so we don't see any of the design tree that made that. Okay, that's an optional move, and we're going to talk a lot more about this in class. So why don't you guys all just give that a try, and we're going to continue to split this up in our next couple videos. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.